The best brands define their PR wow in a clear, concise, and compelling way to attract major media coverage, fans, and sales. Find out their marketing and public relations secrets today on 8 Second Branding with host Liz H. Kelly. Liz is the founder of Goody PR and the author of 8 Second PR. In each episode, she brings you the stories behind some of the best brands, CEOs, and authors. Plus, she explains how media appearances alone are 3 times more valuable than any paid ad. Now, here's your host, Liz Kelly.
Hello, this is Liz Kelly Live with a hot new episode of 8 Second Branding, the podcast. And today's topic is something everybody has been waiting for, and that's how do you become a paid speaker? And we are going to talk to our expert guest, Toni Caruso, who is a speaker's coach and trainer. And she worked with us when she coached all the speakers for the Goody conference. Goody is Women in Technology International that was in San Jose pre-pandemic. So Toni, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Liz. I'm very excited to be here. We've been trying to get this together for a while. Just timing and sickness and things happen. So I'm just really happy to be here today.
Well, we are so excited because this is something that every client we have asks about. How do we become a speaker? How do we get paid as a speaker? What should we talk about? How do we dress? All those things I know you do. And you actually shifted during the pandemic and now are the founder of Academy4Speakers. And 4 is the number 4, so Academy4Speakers. So can you tell our listeners all about why you did that and what is the Academy4Speakers?
Oh, I would love to. So I started out, I've been an event planner for over 40 years. And I was Caruso Signature Events, and I was doing a lot of really large events. Like Liz said, we met through Goody, the Women in Technology International, when I did their summit live and then again virtual. But 2020 happened, and we all know what happened to events. And so I had to get off the couch and put the potato chips away and try and figure out what I was going to do, because that 2 weeks turned into 18 months, right? We all know this story. But I decided that I'd been doing the Academy4Speakers as just a side job. I would do small events in the area I lived in, and I loved it. And I thought, you know what? I see so many people on Zoom events, and they're in their little box, and they don't realize that that little box is your stage, and they are not lit correctly. They're not dressed up. They're not talking correctly. And I thought these people need to understand the power of speaking and speaking on stages. And I mean, networking events, conferences, Zoom meetings, conversations on a phone. Those are all stages. So I decided to expand and just bring in the Academy4Speakers as my main intention. And I have loved every minute of it.
I am so glad that you just brought up that topic about the importance of lighting when you are on camera and your colors, because these are all tips that we talk to our Goody PR clients about right before they go on television. It's the same thing, Zoom, TV, whenever you are on camera, you've got to have all that working for you. So tell us more about how do you get started as a speaker? Maybe walk us through some of the steps of how do you get a presentation ready? How do you develop your brand so that people want you as a speaker?
I think the most important thing is for you to figure out what is your why. And we all know Simon Sinek. We all know, knowing your why. But your why is really your story, your brand story. What is that story? Because that's what people want to hear when you are talking to them. They want to hear your story. They want to hear your message. They don't want to be sitting there and you throwing these PowerPoint presentations that are filled with a lot of statistics. They want to be taken on a journey. And so if you can just figure out what is it that is your niche, narrow it down. What is your superpower? And can you talk about your superpower and just share with an audience 3, 4 tips in 4 minutes? Get it all down and just like narrow it in. What can you share with a group of people if asked, hey, Liz, you have 4 minutes on my stage. Tell us something about, branding and give us some tips. What are your top superpower? What is your genius? And if you can do that, then you work from there, that 4 minutes, and you expand it. And you expand it to a 15-minute talk, 20-minute talk, 45-minute talk. But you need to understand who your audience is and what you are sharing with them. It is not about you. Please stop thinking it's all about you, because it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the audience and the journey you're taking them on, the information you're sharing with them, and what are the action steps that they can immediately use when they walk out of that room. Don't think about selling. Don't think about, how much I'm going to make when I'm on the stage. Think about the power of your message, because there's someone in that audience that needs to hear it from you. They need it right now. So what is that? What is that genius that you have that you can share with people? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I love that, because it is all about your why. And it's also, why should people care? And
Right.
why should people want to listen? Because that's what I try to tell people all the time. You're talking to an audience and they don't want to hear long details about your whole story. They want you to get to the point.
It's like a song, it has a melody, and you take them on this journey. And I always tell everybody, don't take them on a journey that on the end, they're crying, because if they're crying, they're not buying. So you need to take them on that journey, and maybe there's some tears, but where is the upswing at the end? Where did you take them? Where did your journey take you that you're now able to help them with their journey? So leave them on a high, leave them like cheering. You want them to be standing up going, oh my God, I want to get to know you better.
That's such a good analogy, and that's so important. I never thought about that. Leave them on a high. It makes total sense. So can you maybe give us an example of your journey with 2 or 3 steps or 4 steps?
Well, I just did a 4-minute talk on the eWomen Network stage in their conference. And, I talked about the 5 things every speaker should have in place. That preparation is everything. Prepare to be ready so that when you're ready, you're prepared. It's a Sandra Yancey quote that I live by. Because if you are not preparing now, when the opportunity comes and they're sitting there saying, where's your one sheet? Where's your updated headshot? I need to see a video of you. Do you have all that in place so that when the opportunity comes, you like go, oh, I'm going to shoot off an email. You've got everything. So whether you're speaking or not, you need to start getting all those pieces in place. You need a speaker one sheet, which is just a basic, simple form that tells an event producer who you are, what you do, why you do it, and maybe 3 really catchy titles of topics that you can talk about. And who is your audience? Be really clear on who's your audience. Stop speaking to audiences that don't resonate with your message. If you're a divorce coach, don't be speaking to single women who are trying to find love. I mean, that's just really obvious, but I kind of want to make you to look at it and go, wait, that's not my audience. Just because I want to speak doesn't mean I have to speak on every stage that they ask. So you have to know who your audience is. You have to have an updated picture. Please, please stop sending me pictures of you 20 years ago. And then when you walk in the room, I don't know who you are. And it's not a matter of I need to know your look. It's a matter of that picture is being used on all the event pages, in the program, in all the social media posts. You step on stage and you look different from that picture, the audience thinks you're inauthentic, so they don't believe you. So it's a nonverbal thing, but who cares what you look like now? You put on the COVID-15, we all did. Whatever it is, your hair's a little grayer. Make sure you go out and get a really good professional headshot, because when you step on that stage, you need to look like the person I hired. And then you need video of you speaking. And right now is the perfect time. Because of Zoom, everybody's been doing virtual. So you could just pop open your little Zoom, get a PowerPoint ready, and pretend you have an audience and be talking and doing your talk and recording it and go, you know what, put in the chat, everybody, put in the chat, do you agree with what I just said? Oh my God, Susie, great. So we see that you're interacting with an audience. I want to see that you have energy. And especially in a Zoom setting, you need to have more energy than you would have on a stage, because you don't get that audience reaction. So you need to show energy and show motivation and inspiration. So you have to work a little harder, but you can do a quick video of yourself doing a presentation. It shows me that you can walk, you can talk, you have a good message, and you can engage the audience. Does that cover it? Your answer? Is that enough information?
Yes, well, that's perfect. And that's perfect for our audience, because I'm sure they found those tips very helpful. And one of the questions I have, which I've had debates with people on, is should you have a PowerPoint or no PowerPoint? Because some people have really strong opinions. So what do you think?
I personally love a PowerPoint because it keeps me personally on track. But your PowerPoint needs to have one message per slide. Stop putting all your information and writing it all down on a PowerPoint slide and then reading it. If you're talking about speaking, and I'm going to talk about a speaker one sheet, my slide will say one sheet, and then I'll talk for 15 minutes about a speaker one sheet. I'm not reading it off a slide. A lot of people are visual. A lot of people get it auditory. So you need to make sure you have both things. But don't be throwing all your information up there so people are reading it and there's 5 different tips and they're writing them down and they're copying. They're not listening to you. It is just there for a visual and to keep you on track. So I have no problem with it. I just have a problem if it's too much information and if I'm sitting there reading it along with the speaker as they're reading it off. That's unprofessional to me.
Those are really excellent points. I think keep it simple, maybe one image and one thought.
Right.
And
one
that's
thought per
it.
slide.
Yeah, exactly. So that's great. Now, another question I have for you is, you spoke about energy and the importance of energy. And I have tried to look this up and listen to experts, and they say things like you want to pause, you want to talk louder, you want to whisper. What can you do with inflection and energy when you're giving a talk, whether it's Zoom or in person?
Well, when you're in person, you're standing and you're moving. And by all means, do not stand behind a podium. Do not hold on to a table, because your audience feels non-verbally how you feel. So if you're nervous and you're holding on to that podium, they're nervous for you. So walk around, be loose, talk to both sides of the audience, get eye contact with the audience. If that makes you nervous, look over their heads. They don't know it. They think you're looking behind them. So look over their heads. If you're doing a Zoom like I'm doing right now, look into the camera, because then I'm looking at you and you're not seeing me look at Liz down here. Look into the camera because you want that eye contact. But I totally agree. Talk a little softer. People lean in, they want to hear, then talk louder. You need to have that inflection. You're totally correct. And if I could, I have a desk that is a stand-up desk. So when I'm doing a presentation, I'm usually standing up, but I'm in a hotel room right now, so I don't have my desk with me. So if you can have your computer up so you're standing, even that motion right there gives more energy to you. Use your hands. Just don't sit still and talk like this and keep a monotone. People will go to sleep. So and add some humor and get them to engage with you. Ask questions. Use the Zoom polls. Use whatever you can, raise your hand if you want to be a speaker. How many people? Give me a heart if you love just what I said. There are all kinds of things that you can do, but don't get caught up into doing too much of them. I don't know if you've seen, there are some speakers out there who every 5 minutes, turn to the person next to you and give them a high five and turn to the person behind, and you're like, oh my God, I'm exhausted, So a little bit of that is great, but not too much.
I love those tips. Those are so great. And the standing up is one that I've used in the past when I did radio interviews. And I remember having these interviews at 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, because you're dealing with East Coast. And we are a global world right now. So who knows when your presentation is? So standing up just elevates that energy. And that really helped me do radio. So thank you for bringing that up. So let's talk about pandemic, Zoom versus live events. And where are we today? And what are you seeing as the trends?
Oh gosh, they change every day. And I had an event, a live event in Dallas, Texas, scheduled October, I think it's 5th, 6th, and 7th. It was for a client. And we haven't been able to get together to do a live event in a year and a half. And he had it scheduled and he just had to postpone it yesterday because people started canceling. I think right now, smaller events are key. So doing 20 to 50 person events are great because it's a smaller room. It's not only, I feel comfortable. I've been to events that have 350, 200 people in the last couple of months. I have no fear of getting sick. It's just, I refuse to live in that world and that fear. I go out there and I'm just going to have a good time because that's who I am. But if that's not who you are, and there is some fear to it, find a smaller event. Wear a mask when you go to that event. Sit in the back because it's a safer place than people talking this way and they're not wearing masks if that makes you uncomfortable. But I think it's important that we start getting out. We have to get out of our environment and we have to start getting social with other people, whether it be 10 people, 20 people, 300 people, whatever you are personally comfortable with, then you need to do it. But you need to get out of the Zoom world and get into the real world. Because let me tell you, I went to an event in June and it was my first live event. There were, I want to say 150 people in the room. The energy in that room was off the charts. The noise level, the excitement, it was just so great because people were so tired of being alone and they were so happy to be together. And we didn't have anybody get COVID after it. It was safe. It was wonderful. It was an amazing experience. So they are happening. It's just the people that want to do them, like myself, we are kind of waiting for the audience to come in. So we're ready to have these events and we're looking at doing smaller events so that it makes it safer. But even with that, you just don't know where the numbers and where the mindset is. So, you might have 50 people that are like, I am so in, but you're getting a room for 200 and you're paying for 200. So cost effective, it isn't. So he had to postpone it because financially it wouldn't work. But he's dying to get into a room and in front of an audience. And I know I am too.
That's a really good way to describe it. I do think we have to have people ease into it. And that's why I think Zoom is great in that you can reach a larger audience and a global audience. But you're right, it's that energy and that feeling of being with other people that's so powerful. I just got back from a trip to Panama. That's the picture in the back of my screen. And they normally have tours with 14 people. It's a small tour, but they ended up having only 4. And I actually was happy that it was only 4 because that was like my big stepping out and my big brave move. And I also was going out of the country. But, I felt safe because Panama is really good about how you have to have a COVID test before you go. You also have to have a COVID test before you get on the plane to come home.
Right.
So, when you're on the plane, you're with people that don't have it, which is fantastic. And it was a really good experience and it raised my confidence level. And I think that's really where we're going. We have to raise the confidence back so people will get back out there and go to these events. And I love your ideas. So let me ask you, how can people get involved in Academy for Speakers? What types of things can you help them with? so that people know this is a great person that you must call?
Well, thank you. I have a coaching program that lasts 4 months, and it takes you through I bring in experts that talk about speaking on the stage, styling on the stage. We all have our niche. My niche is the business of speaking. And how do you make money on the stage? How do you do this to build your community and get that community of raving fans we all want? So that's my section of it, but I bring in all these amazing other experts that come in and they teach their part, the branding, the messaging, the marketing, the styling, all those things. So I have a program which will be starting the beginning of next year in January. My program is just ending this month, so I'm taking the next 3 months off, but we're starting in January. But in the meantime, I have a club for speakers, which is a place to go to get everything you need for speaking. And also it will give you leads, and it'll tell you how to do pitch letters, all kinds of great things. But the way to get into anything that I do is just go to the www.academy4speakers.com and sign up for my VIP group. It doesn't cost you anything. And in that VIP group, you get downloads of all kinds of free tips and free information. And then you will be in my VIP group and get all the information about upcoming events, upcoming coaching programs, and all my products as they come out. So it's just a good way to get into my community and just be a part of it and learn more.
Fantastic. I love that. And I just want to stress that it's Academy 4, the number 4, at Academy4 Speakers.
Right.
So, okay, you just brought up another thing that I want to ask you about, and that is the pitch letter, because we pitch our PR clients to the media, but some of our clients want us to pitch them for speaking events. And that's not really our area of expertise. But when you pitch to be a speaker at an event, what types of things go in that pitch email or letter?
Well, the first thing is, don't write too much. Don't send me pages of who you are and you wrote this book and you're amazing and everything, and it's me, 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 me. Go with a system that is, tell me why you're writing me this letter. Toni, I saw you on Liz's podcast. I think you're amazing. I see you're doing some wonderful events. I've signed up for your October event in Atlanta, and I'm going to be there virtually because I just want to learn more from you. But I would love to be a part of your community in a more effective way. Then the first paragraph is all about, why you've chosen me, then why you are a great fit for my community. The reason I think that I could help your community is because I deal with speakers, or I do styling, whatever it is that your niche is. And then that third one is, this is how a strategic partnership would work with us. I think it would be great. We get together, and do it so that it's more like, I know about you. I've heard about you. I'm part of your community. I used to be the managing director for eWomen Network in Southern California, and I got pitched all the time, people wanting to speak on my stage. And a lot of them were local. And I'd get really angry. And I'm like, why should you speak on my stage if you haven't been to one of my events? So if you can't spend the $45 to come to a luncheon, introduce yourself to me, and so I can see how you are in my community, then why should I bother putting you on my stage? We have to get out of this. I'm a speaker. I'm a best-selling author. Everybody's a best-selling author. Not everybody's a best-selling New York Times author, but through Amazon, you have a lot of best-selling authors out there. So you're in the mix. But what makes you unique? What are the things that you are so uniquely qualified to solve that I need to have you on my stage because my audience has those problems and you can help them? Does that make sense?
Exactly. I think the key point is why you, why did you pick this event? And then how can you help the audience? I think a lot of people, like you just said, they skip that and they just want to talk about themselves. And it's not about them. It's about, I like you, I'm in sync with your brand, and I can help your audience with this problem. So I love that. I think that's so important because people, like you said, they just blast out, here's why I'm wonderful.
Yeah. Well, you know the speakers that get on the stage and you can see them in the back and they go, and they become this different person and they step on the stage. They're like, hi, my name's Toni and I'm going to be, and it's a totally different energy than they are off stage. You need to understand that we want to know you, just like in social media. We want to be friends with you, not with your company, not with your brand. We want to know about you. You are your brand. You are the person that I want on my stage. So it's your personality, your look, your energy, your story. That's what I want. That's going to make it different for my audience, because I can get anybody up there that teaches how to 10K your business in 10 days. By the way, I hate that title. It's like, why not tell me how you can solve my clients' problems? And all you have to do is say, who are your clients? What are the top 5 problems that they have currently? And how do you uniquely solve them? There are your topics, because people will go, oh, I got that problem. She can help me. I want to know her. They're going to lean in and want to know more. A lot of people do these catchy titles that don't make sense. And people are like, what's she talking about? Make sure that it's not long and drawn out, but it's juicy and interesting and engaging, but it also tells them exactly what they're going to learn if they come to that event.
I love it. We do also a lot of pitches with numbers in it, like the 5 ways to, make $100,000 in 6 months, or the 5 ways to save on your taxes. Do you like numbers in the pitches?
I like numbers because it tells me, oh, she's got 5 things that she's going to share with my audience. She knows the formula, instead of, I'm going to show you like ways to save money on your taxes or tax breaks for you, make it more unique, like entrepreneurial tax breaks that you can take advantage of in 2022. Now I know it's an entrepreneurial tax break and not just a tax break for everyone else. Know who your audience is. And then again, I'm talking more entrepreneurial, but if you have a very well educated, or if you're talking to schools or universities or that type of audience, then that's where you put in your PhDs and your doctorates and all your things. Entrepreneurs, we don't really care a lot about that. We don't care that you've won all this award or that award or that. We want to know, what can you do for me? Because that's what the audience wants to know.
Excellent. Excellent. I love that. So I'm sure everybody in the audience also wants to know, how do you get paid as a speaker? So can you go through, I know a lot of people do it for free in the beginning, but how do you go from free to making $10,000 to do a talk?
Okay, my answer to that is, don't go out looking for people to pay you to be on the stage, because right now it's a whole different world, especially with Zoom. Your bigger speakers like your Les Brown, your Bo Eason, who get paid $25,000 to speak on a stage, now they can do 5 or 6 of those in a day, and they don't have to pay for travel, hotel, any expenses. And they're probably saying, well, Zoom, I don't have to leave my house, so I'll do it for $15,000. So you're competing against the 1%. 1% of 1% of speakers get paid to speak. On the other hand, you should be paying yourself to speak. You should be getting on this stage and offering something that the audience is going to want and buy, because you can step on a stage with 100 people and you can have a $2,000 program. And if you close 25 people at $2,000, you've made some money. You got $50,000 in your pocket, So you have to look at it as, when I step on a stage, how much am I going to make? Now you need to understand that you have to ask permission when you step on that stage if you can do an offer for a program. You also have to understand the audience, and are they willing to pay $2,000, $5,000, $10,000? So you got to know your audience. You have to also know you as a salesperson. If you're just starting out, I always suggest offer something for free, because if you offer for free and then get those emails, then you have time to nurture those people in a nurture campaign, and they will be clients. They might be a client in 2 weeks. They might be a client in 2 years, but they get into your community. So that, to me, that's getting paid. Now, if you want to get paid, I had a client recently who's speaking at a library, and she freaked out because she called me and said, oh my God, they want to know what I charge. And I don't charge anything. And I said, go back to them and ask them what their budget is. And I said, for a library, it's going to be $100, $150, whatever it is. And when they say $100, go, you know what? I usually ask for more, but I love the library and I love my community and I really want to give back. So I will discount it to the $100, and I will be pleased as punch to talk to your audience. And that's what she did. And they're now sending her $100. She's now a paid speaker. But don't go in there thinking you're going to get $25,000 when you've never spoken before. You do need to speak for free. And the only reason I say that is you want to fail in front of audiences that are small, because it's like a comedian. A comedian just doesn't go up and do a stand-up and nail it. They go from stage to stage to stage, and they hone their craft. You have to hone that speech. So why fail in front of 100 people? Fail in front of 20. And I'm not talking major fail. I'm just like, you walk off and go, oh, I could have done this a little different. I'm going to learn, I'm going to change it up. So, and having that coaching program or having that community where you can say, hey guys, can you get on a Zoom with me? I'm going to do my 20-minute speech. I need your feedback. You know, it's not going to hurt you. Practice, and find what works for you and the rhythm that works for you. And you'll soon see, oh my gosh, I got this nailed. Then you can go out and hit those larger stages.
Wow. I mean, there was so much great information in that. I hope everybody is writing down the notes, because I love the example of the library and getting paid $100 and saying, I'm doing it because I want to give back, which I'm sure was authentic and she really wanted to do it. But now she can say she's a paid speaker. So I just love that. And so many other things that you just said are so helpful. We're almost out of time. So let me just ask, is there anything that we did not cover that you really want to cover?
No, I just say that everybody should realize that a stage is any time you're having a conversation with someone. So you should be wearing high heels or nice shoes. You should be wearing dress pants. You should get up for a Zoom as you would if you were going to meet them live. It has something to do with your psychology, how you hold yourself, how you feel. Put on lipstick, like Liz has the jewelry on, you know, wear nice clothes. I have been on more Zoom meetings with people who literally, they have their camera in the wrong angle, or I'm looking up their nose, or they've got, they're in a cave and you can't see them. You know, you are representing your brand every time people see you. And if you are not representing yourself as a professional and you're not showing up, it's like as if you would go into a job interview and you're wearing jeans and a t-shirt and you walk in and go, yeah, I want to work for you. You know, they're like, if this is dressed up for you, I'm not going to hire you. You know, you need to dress up and show your best self, and you feel better when you get dressed up. You know, get up in the morning and get dressed up and get on that Zoom as if you're like walking in the room live. And I think that will perpetuate into more business. And also another thing just came in my mind. If you want to be a speaker, you need to tell people you're a speaker. So it needs to be on your social media, on your LinkedIn, on all of your bios, speaker, author, coach, whatever. You have to tell people you're a speaker. Don't expect people to just say, oh, you know, you have a lot of information. Are you a speaker? You know, tell them you are. It's part of your introduction.
That's such a good point. And that's something that we do when we work with our clients. we actually put those titles in their press releases. So one press release will say speaker, the next one will say leadership coach, the next one says best-selling author, so that if people are Googling, their titles are popping up in Google. So I'm really glad you brought that up. So I have one last question that I ask everyone, and it's a little hard, but I'm just going to warn you, it throws people off. But what can you do in 8 seconds as a speaker? You're on stage, you've got 8 seconds. What can you do to make an impact?
Go up there with a lot of energy and just say, my name's Toni Caruso, and I have an Academy for Speakers. So if you want to build your business and you want to take that fast track and make the money that you deserve, step on a stage, share your message. There are people out there that want to hear it.
I love it. I love it. Fantastic. And this has just been such a great conversation and an interview, and I can't wait to share it with the audience. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And good luck in Texas. I know you just moved. And everybody check out Toni's event in Atlanta, right? October 22nd.
It's a hybrid so that it's in Atlanta, but we're also doing it virtually as well. It's October 22nd.
Okay, great. And what is that event called?
It's the 360 Entrepreneurial Experience. So I'm bringing in 5 of my favorite experts to come talk. And, you know, it's a day to work on your business instead of in your business.
Fantastic. So please go check that out. Go to Academy4Speakers, and come back and listen to more episodes of 8 Second Branding, the podcast.
Do you want to increase your sales and word of mouth marketing by constantly being in headline news? Instead of getting lost at a big agency, Goody PR specializes in VIP service, where making your business look good is their top priority. Goody PR founder and best-selling author Liz H. Kelly has been there, done that, and built a team of PR professionals who have booked thousands of major media interviews for clients, including The Today Show, CNN, Fox News, BBC, NPR, and many, many more. Let them partner with you to find ways to magnify your brand so it emotionally connects and reaches your ideal audience. And the best part is that media interviews are 3 times more valuable than any paid ad. What are you waiting for? Email info@goodypr.com today. Set up a call to discuss how to get your story and business moving forward. That's info@goodypr.com. Thank you for tuning in for this edition of 8 Second Branding. Keep checking back for new shows featuring your host, Liz H. Kelly, on the Voice America Business Channel.